Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joyabaking.com. Today we're going to make Snickerdoodles, or maybe you call them Snipdoodles or even cinnamon sugar cookies, and this is what they look like. On the outside you have this nice coating of cinnamon sugar, which makes them kind of crispy, yet inside they're soft and chewy, and they have a wonderfully sweet and buttery flavor. So the first thing you will need to do is preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 200 degrees Celsius, and then you will need a baking sheet, and I've lined mine with parchment paper, but you could lightly butter it or even spray it with one of those non-stick sprays. Now for the batter, if you have a stand mixer, then use your paddle attachment, but you could use a hand mixer for this, or really you could just have a large bowl with a wooden spoon. The first thing you will need is 1 cup, 225 grams of butter. I like to use unsalted butter. 1, I just like the flavor. And 2, I like to, if I use unsalted, then I can control the amount of salt in my cookie. But if you have a favorite salted butter, by all means use that. I think I said have it at room temperature. And so what I'm going to do is just beat this until it's nice and smooth. Okay, that looks good. One of the reasons I do this too is if you didn't take your butter out early enough, which I actually didn't, it can be a little firm. So if you beat it like this, it gets it nice and soft, so you're good to go. So now, this is a sugar cookie, so it is sweet. I'm going to add 1.5 cups, which is 300 grams of granulated white sugar. And I'm also going to flavor the cookies with 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of pure vanilla extract. Now, the vanilla is just for flavoring, so if you prefer your Snickerdoodles, some people don't want that vanilla flavor, then you can just leave it out. You don't have to do anything else, just leave it out. So now I'm just going to beat this on medium-high just to get everything all mixed together. Okay, whenever you're making a batter, periodically, scrape down the sides and the bottom of your bowl. You want to make sure everything gets mixed together. So now what we're going to add is 2 large eggs, which is 100 grams, and have your eggs at room temperature. I'm going to add 1, beat it in, and then add the second one. Okay, and the second one. Okay, let's give that a scrape. As you can see, this is not a hard batter to mix, so you could do it by hand. Okay, so now for our dry ingredients, in a bowl I have 2 3/4 cups, which is 355 grams of all-purpose flour. You may know that as plain flour. Now Snickerdoodles, there's 2 ways for the leavening you can use. Now what I'm going to use is 2 teaspoons, 8 grams of cream of tartar, and you can find the cream of tartar on the spice aisle of your grocery store. Now, the cream of tartar is kind of interesting because it gives the cookies a little bit of a tang, which I kind of like with the, this is a sweet sugar cookie, so I like that. And then I'm adding 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of baking soda. Now, I know a lot of people cannot find cream of tartar, so there is an answer. You can leave out the cream of tartar and the baking soda and instead use 2 teaspoons, 8 grams of baking powder. So there is a solution for the people that can't find that. And then I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon, 2 grams of salt. So no matter if you use the baking soda or the baking powder, the salt, unless you used the salted butter, and then I would probably leave that salt out. So now I'm just going to whisk all that together. And then I'm going to add that and just beat it in until everything is mixed together. Now, do this on slow speed because you don't want that flour coming up in your face. Okay, so that's our batter. Now at this point, if you found your batter was really soft, mine's not too bad, you can just cover it and refrigerate it until it's, firm. But I think I'm okay, and I can bake these off right away. Now this makes, as you can see here, I like my cookies. I call them bakery size. They're really big. This is about a 4-inch cookie, 10 centimeters. So that, and with that amount, with this amount of batter, you will get about 24 cookies. So if you find, oh, I don't want that many, you could just as easily just half the recipe. It's really easy to divide in half. So now we're going to coat our cookies in a cinnamon sugar. So I have here just a 1/4 cup, 50 grams of granulated white sugar, and I'm going to add 2 teaspoons, 4 grams of ground cinnamon. Let's mix all that up. So like I said, I like mine pretty large. So I'm going to roll my batter into 2-inch, which is 5-centimeter round balls. Now you can eyeball that. That'll probably be a little less than 2 tablespoons, but you know what? This is when you want to scale, because 40 grams per cookie. Really easy to do it that way. So put on your scale. So there we go. I'll just do 1 here. Move my thing. So just roll it. If not, if you're going to do it by eyeball, you might want to, your first one, you get out your ruler and see if it's 2 inch. Now, if you don't want them this large, sometimes I make them half this size, 1 inch, 2.5 centimeter round balls, which would be 20 grams of batter. So if you don't want the giant size. So what I do is I've got my round, I usually roll all my cookies first, and then I do them all like a production line, but I'll just show you one here. So I'm going to get a nice coating. And then these will, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put only about 5, 6 on a baking sheet, because what I'm going to do is you put your cookie there, and then you take a glass, and then I'm going to flatten it into like almost like a 3-inch round, 7.5 centimeters, which is about, a 1/4 inch thick, which is about 1/2 centimeter, but I'm just going to, you can get your ruler out here if you want. The important thing is to make them all the same so that they bake in the same town. But that's what you're looking for. And just carry on here. Okay, and my last one. Okay, yeah, that looks good. So now, baking time. Everyone's oven is a little different. Now, I like my Snickerdoodles quite soft and chewy. So, I'm going to say between 7 and 9 minutes. So what you're looking for is the outside, when you touch it, it's firm, but the centers will still be quite soft. And you want to rotate your baking sheet front to back about halfway through baking. And you will get some rise. And then what happens is they will flatten down again, and the tops will be kind of crinkly from the cinnamon sugar. So I'm going to say 7 to 9 minutes. Okay, so our Snickerdoodles are done. So put your baking sheet on a wire rack. So as you can see, they're slightly brown around the edges, and when I touch them, they're firm, but the centers are still really soft. So what I'm going to do is let them cool for a couple minutes, just like this, and then I'm going to use my spatula to transfer them to a wire rack to finish cooling, and meanwhile I'll bake another sheet off, and when we come back, we will try one. So now they've cooled off, so let's try one. I can feel the outside edges are crisp, centers are still soft. Very nice, soft, chewy, crisp edges. You know, this is a really nice tasting cookie. And what I like is you can usually decide in the morning, oh, I'm going to make some Snickerdoodles, because there's not any exotic ingredients in a Snickerdoodle. You know, most of the time you would have everything in the house. So if your kids want something easy to make, they taste great, and they store really well. You could probably store these at room temperature probably a couple weeks. Of course, they never last that long in my house, but maybe in yours. Or you could freeze them. So, you know, try these. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joyofbaking.com.